Hey, Monica. Hi,
Hello,
Isaiah.
hello.
How are you?
I am wonderful. I'm wonderful. How are you? Get my phone
Yeah,
set.
I'm good, thank you. Look at this, both in white.
Always in white. Well, let's say most of the time, unless I'm going incognito, then I don't wear white. But
Yeah. So how have you been? What's going on? How's your day been?
it's been good. I
Hi,
was,
Anessa. Sorry.
oh, that's okay. I can't see that, so you'll have to do that. Yes, I was thinking about your
Ah,
questions and about manifestation and how it has occurred in our lives. I've just been contemplating in preparing for this conversation today.
yes, yes. It's a very special topic, isn't it?
Hmm. Hmm.
Hi, Hema. We've got people joining. Helen. Hi, Helen. Yes, everyone get excited for manifestation.
They say that's one of the criteria.
Yes, 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 that's it. Hi, Tawanda. Yeah, we have a lot of people joining us. Yes, so what's on your mind? What's on your mind? Let's start. Let's not keep them waiting for too long.
Okay, well, I think since this is your live, I think maybe you should start. So you get us going
Ooh.
of where you'd like to go, and then I will just go with you.
Yeah. Wow, you've put me on the spot now, haven't you?
Mhm.
Well, manifestation. I've been thinking about it as well. And when it came that I'm going to do a live with Isaiah, this is the first thing that came to me. And because I suppose kind of my journey started with you, and that's when things started unfolding and just happening in my life. And to me, law of attraction, manifestation is more on the emotional side, on the emotion side. I feel the energy. When you think of manifestation, it's more like it's the mind, isn't it? Like you think in your mind, and that's when your thought creates the reality, they say, isn't it? To
Yeah,
me, my experience has been different. It's more on the emotion side. What's yours?
yeah, because for me, by the time you've had the thought, you're practically on the last part of the journey. That's the end, right? And manifestation for me, it's always in progress. It's not something we turn on or turn off, which is why looking at what is coming back into our lives helps us with
Mm.
clues of what is really coming out from within us into our lives, right? The unconscious parts or the parts we may not have tapped into, because that cycle of co-creation, which is what manifestation is, it's
Mm-hmm.
continuous. It's always in play. It's actually just how the universe works. Like it doesn't turn on, turn off, which is why I think what you say is that when it hits the mind, it becomes a little bit flat, right? Because you've kind of missed it, that though this is a facet though that can feed back in, so it's not excluded from it. It is the last cycle of it.
Right. So if you say it's the last cycle, what's the beginning?
Well, what do you think is the beginning?
Mm. It's Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it the feeling? Does the feeling start first?
Yeah, that's in the middle. So
Mm-hmm.
if we are energetic beings, so that's the fundamental principle underneath the law of attraction, is that
Right.
we are a soul, we're energy, we're light, we're
Ah.
sound, we're this co-creative magic, and we choose to embody a form, which is why our form is temporary. It's why we die, right? If the form was the goal, it would last forever, but it doesn't. We all know we're going to die. So we are an energy, we are light, we are electric, we are all of these things who then embody an essence of form, which we call life, right? I have a human life. And then that life dissolves, but we don't dissolve, right?
Mm-hmm.
We go back to a formless state. And in a weird way, we know that's true because I don't know if you've ever, I just spent time with this. I was on the ferry and this little 2-year old was literally magnetically drawn energetically to me. And every time she came up close, she would start dancing. Like her body, the energy that she had, it was just like she'd get so excited. And then she'd go away,
Right.
look at a few things, and she would be pulled back. So that's like a wisdom and a knowingness. Like she knew me.
Mm-hmm.
And if we were brand new every time we embodied form, you wouldn't see wisdom in young children. Because what you're
Mm-hmm.
seeing is you're seeing a soul who's newly informed that hasn't forgotten that they still were soul, right? And so just
Yeah.
in witnessing a young child, it helps you really know that the form is what is temporary.
Mm.
So any energy that comes through the form, which could be feelings, thoughts, even physical sensations. Like sometimes you'll feel the top, well, for me, it's always the top of my head and the back of my body literally just start to pulse. Okay, so as soon as it comes into form, you know you're in the middle. And then we pull it through our thoughts because we also are action and doing beings. And then that's the last piece of the creative of the, of the let's make this happen. Right.
Right.
So the feeling is in, so we, because we're energy, we actually create from outside in that place, which is where I believe the true part of manifestation of whatever we see in our lives, if we don't label
Mm-hmm.
it as good, bad, or whatever weird human applications we put on things that make us kind of prove that we're not good enough. So if you dissolve all of that and you just witness
Mm-hmm.
it, then we know it's coming from that energetic place that is beyond, that is before we are now feeling it into our form and before we start to consciously think it into action, right? And so we can literally see what our true purpose is, where we're meant to walk, what is our soul alignment, because you will literally, when we're unconscious, we literally will manifest it. So it's like you're out in the world and you get this feeling. Well, something occurred before in order for you to even have the feeling. It had to
Mm-hmm.
have, right? And then intuition is farther on the outside, right? That
Right.
knowingness, like that you just know. It's not even necessarily formed into a feeling in your body. It's just before that. So it's when the energy comes into your field and all of a sudden you're interacting with it, and it can show up in,
Mm-hmm.
everybody has a different way of working with that, but it shows up and we call it intuition, gut feeling. And then you can take it into feeling and then you can take it into thought. That'd be how I experience it.
Wow. So you know what you just said? It's amazing, and it's something to do with the soul, isn't it? So the soul is first, and then the soul has its own values, accumulated values.
I'm not sure I would be able to answer that. The Buddhists call it karma,
Uh-huh.
right? So your soul in my world is light, it's energy, it's presence, it's something different. And then when it comes into form, the way that I felt it in my life is because I see patterns, I feel patterns. And so it would, I could feel that certain part of my patterns weren't complete on my own somehow. There were either breaks or
Mhm.
severs. Some of it would be from trauma. Some of it, honestly, I was just born with, like in the form in which I embodied. Like sometimes I have some lineage from my physical DNA lineage. And I'm like, where did that come from? Right? Because for me,
Mhm.
this form that I embodied is the first time I'm part of my family's lineage on the DNA side, but yet
Right.
it's embodied. So I think, you know, like, because if you think about the moment in which we're created, you have DNA mixing with soul creating form. So this is why, you know, spirituality is so incredible and life is so incredible, is because it depends on what you're here to do to which one is more prominent. Like, I know people where ancestral energy, that
Right.
is the facet that makes sense to them. Wonderful. For some people, it's light, it's energy. Wonderful. For some people, it's the form of the thought. Wonderful. Like, it doesn't, it just depends, I think, when you come in, of just which, however this thing comes, which is way beyond my, like, I can feel it, but I choose not to articulate it because it just would be too small, it'd be
Yes.
too right, wrong, limiting. But with all of this potential, then somehow, and that's beyond me, somehow we work with that potential, however that is, right? Like, you'll meet young children and they already come in with imprints. And there's
Yes.
no way they got it from their physical 2 or 5 years that they've lived, and yet they embody some message or something that they need to work through. So that kind of gives you a bit of clues.
Yeah. Yeah. You're so right. Let's see what our audience, are they resonating? What do you guys think? Tell us what is it that's resonating with you? Hi, Rola. Hi, Nixon. We've got so many people watching us. Kelly's here. Hi, Kelly. So yeah, that's very, very interesting. So if that's the first part, what's the next part? As in, for people who don't yet understand about spirituality, who are not there yet, what's in the way? What's stopping them?
Okay, so let's bring it into form. I live before form, but we're going to bring it into form because that will make it simpler. So the law of attraction states that, let's say there's something that you are wanting to create, hence manifestation. You want to manifest it in your life. You want to see it in the real 3D world. Okay?
Yeah.
And it usually starts with a desire, a hope, a thought, a feeling. Okay, but it usually has something concrete of nature. So I would like this type of employment. I would like to attract this type of loving relationship. However that works, that doesn't really matter. That's up to you. And the law of attraction says that if there is an idea that you have and you are able to embody it as if it already exists, the energetic law of attraction means it will arrive. Because remember, we are always manifesting. So what it is that I want is, or what it
Mm.
is that I put out into the world is exactly what will come back to my world. It's actually no different, which is why
Right.
when we use it as a tool to learn about what we really want unconsciously, you can really literally look out into the world, as long as you don't judge and criticize yourself, because then you miss the gift. But anyways, you can go out into the world and you can see exactly what you're putting into the world, because energy attracts energy, right? Whatever we put out in the law of attraction, that energy system, the world can only match it. And it's like you're building highways. All of these thoughts,
Mm.
these desires, everything you put out into the world is, you're basically saying to the world, these are the highways you're allowed to travel back into me. So if I put
Mm.
out kind thoughts and kind vibrations, you'll literally notice your life changing. It is why gratitude is such a common practice, because every time I'm grateful for everything that I have, basically what I'm saying to the world is, anything that I love that's good for me, I'm now creating a pathway for it to travel back to me. And then all of a sudden your life gets better. And you're like, well, that's weird. I didn't do anything. But you basically created the pathways for it to come back. So law of attraction says, if you use your emotions and your feelings, what you're doing is you're solidifying these pathways. So if I
Mm.
say, I really want this job, let's just say as an example, I really want to do this thing, and I can literally energetically embody that I'm already doing it. So in my being, instead of thinking I want this, It is, I am already doing this. And when I can use my emotions and my system to make that pathway so clear, which is what the power of emotion does, right? So I have my thoughts that say, I am this, I'm doing this,
Mm.
and I have my emotions that say, I can feel it happening. We're creating this pathway that once it gets so solid in the world's like, oh, it just comes, it just has the pathway for it to be brought into your life. It's like you're
Yeah.
creating it in your system in order to teach the world that this is what they can bring into you. Because on an energetic level, you actually have to create the pathways in order to bring it into form, so that form actually knows how to be built into that 3D platform, which is what manifestation is. I want to see it in my real life. I want to touch it, feel
Yeah.
it, taste it. I want to do it. That's how I
Yeah.
understand it. What about you? That's enough of me talking. What about you?
Yeah. Well, Tawanda's saying, I am, and then blank. So again, it's, so she's, yeah. So it's really being that, because we are human beings, the form that you're saying, isn't it? The being. So I am, and then letting that happen. And yeah, so again, I practice this every single day. And this is my first thing in the morning. I do this. So thank you, Tawanda, for bringing that to the table. So again, knowing that I am a soul, but then also I am a being. And then this body is a being. And that's how every morning I have to consciously ask myself, what do I want to be today? What am I going to be? Because I'm a being. And then I fill in that blank, and then I tell myself, I am love. I am kindness. And it comes like every day. It won't be the same thing. It's not that I have certain words. It comes. And then it's like, today I am calm. And I repeat those words to myself. And amazingly, the whole day, just, I don't do it. It happens. It's crafted in a way that it goes in love, in kindness, in calmness, and it just comes. So it's exactly what you said, isn't it? And I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah. It's like as you were talking, it's like as we build these roads, which we use the human form to do that. We use thought, we use emotions, right? So we say, if we use affirmations, like if you look at all the spiritual practices that ripple through every practice, whether it's religious, whether it's like, you can literally see different ways of creating those pathways, right? And then what happens is as we start to live in them and trust them and believe them and embody them fully, it's like then it comes deeper into the tunnel of who we are, which is the soul. And then from the soul, because it has started before this. And the goal is to have the soul start to co-create within all of the thoughts, the feelings. Because you'll notice when you're so in alignment with every aspect of yourself, that to
Yeah.
create the feelings and the thoughts is super easy, right? Because it's actually coming from the bigger piece of who you are, right? The piece that chose to embody all of that form. And so the more that we create gratitude and kindness, and then the more we start seeing gratitude and kindness, we're like, whoa, and it starts to feed it. It's like it then gets to go past it deeper into our soul. And when that piece starts to light up, it's like it starts to funnel it, a self-fulfilling funnel. Rather than in the beginning, we start gratitude and we're like, oh, why are people still yelling at me? That's weird, right? Like you're like, and then as you keep doing it, you literally start to see the change. And then all of a sudden someone's kind and you're like, whoa, that, and then it kind of starts to grow and grow. And then as it gets deeper and deeper into who you are, you access that power of manifestation quicker, clearer, because you can actually hear what you really want to manifest, what is really in alignment. Because I can say, and I have done this, And so I'm cautious when I manifest because I'll say, oh, I want this. And my brain is pretty small. Like it's like, oh yeah, I think this is a great idea. And it's not usually. It can be, but it can also be kind of messed up with some of my values, some of my anxieties, my sensitivities, that I think will, you know. So
Right.
sometimes when we manifest, we will have things that come back to us that we're like, that's not what I meant. And it may not be
Mm.
as beautiful as we needed it to be. And so I think every time we start to practice, we get a little bit deeper, so that then when we do manifest, it is exactly in alignment for all of our facets. The mind, the heart is at ease, and the soul just starts to like just has this other element to it. And that's why
Yeah.
it's so neat to be in the curiosity rather than yes, no, good or bad, is that when we see what comes back into the world from what we're really wanting, we get to kind of understand ourselves a bit more and going, okay, that's actually what I'm putting out into the world, right? Because it comes from
Yeah.
beyond. So then it's like, okay. So a little bit more to do there, but the more that we love ourselves and the more that
Yeah.
we recognize we have that choice, then it becomes a cleaner and a more fruitful manifestation, because the essence of it is manifestation never stops. It is always a circuit
Mm.
going. As long as we can remember that, then all we're trying to do is tune into it. And it's why being authentically you, like that journey to know thyself, is so important, is because the more that we know what is really, 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 really us, the more
Yeah.
beautiful we're able to manifest and co-create what really actually will land, not what we think is supposed to land or what we think others want to land, right? It really literally starts to
Yeah. 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 We have a lot of people joining. Hi, Val. Hi, Melanie. Wow. Can you see all the hearts flowing across the screen? Thank you
Actually,
so
that's my
much.
favorite part. I wish I could just see that in my life all the time. Like you walk on the street, there's a bunch of hearts everywhere.
We have Nina Kara. We have Whale. Oh, hi, Jennifer. Wow, that's a lot of love, see? And again, love is another, it is a frequency, isn't it? You give love out and love comes back to you. And I like what you said. You said that it's happening all the time, but then it takes practice. So does the practice mean when it's happening all the time, that's on a subconscious level? And then we are practicing daily, we are consciously practicing it and making it a habit, then it just flows. So that means everyone's manifesting something. So tell us about the different frequency of manifestation. So you said there's gratitude. So we put gratitude out, gratitude comes back to us. Love out, love comes back. That means if we put fear out, fear comes back.
Well, if we don't make it so tangible, because when we start to go down that path, we're using our mind to try and understand something
Mhm.
where it's only a piece of the puzzle. Because if we start saying, um, I have bad things that happen to me, therefore I am bad, that's a really dangerous path to start taking manifestation, though energetically, the frequency is a match, or else it wouldn't literally come. Like, so, but because we always want to analyze it and we have a psychology background in our world, it always wants to
Mm.
say good or bad. So, therefore, you are now bad. Well, as soon as we embody it, because remember, the human being part is the temporary nature of our experience. But we take it to a soul level, which is why worthiness and self worthiness is something that a lot of people we know struggle with. Like good, kind people, Like good
Mm.
people struggle with being worthy and lovable. It's like shocking in my brain. It makes no logical sense. It's because we've taken it a little bit too literal. So part of where feelers have it in this way a little bit easier is that we
Mm-hmm.
actually can feel the resonance, and then we can help, the mind can help us integrate it. But when it only lives here, this system is the system of duality. It is the system that we need to be a human being, to function within rules like gravity. Like you kind of need to know, you gotta, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna go off it, but bring myself back. Um, so I just always, I don't like to ever attach anything to that, because
Mm-hmm.
we still have
Mm-hmm.
that self. Okay, so what is fascinating? So when you're looking for a new car, like let's say
Yeah.
you're looking for a white Jeep, do you notice you start seeing it everywhere in the world? You're like, wow, there's like so many white Jeeps. And in your
Yeah.
brain, you think, I think they just sold 1 million new white Jeeps this week.
Mm.
No, we brought it into our awareness because we kept looking for it. And then all of a sudden, you see them all. All the cars are there, but you will
Yeah.
pull from it what is in your field. So it will appear as if more is there. Like love and kindness exist everywhere, it's always there. But if we're not attuned and practiced to seeing it, you honestly will not see it. So I'll give you this
Mm.
little example. So I was at the park last week and a hawk caught a crow. And I was witnessing this whole entire experience. And the piece that I'll share that's applicable to this is when the crow, or when the hawk was in the tree, and the transition of the soul and the family of the crows, that it all dissolved. And now this being was feeding himself. And I was just sitting on this rock, just hanging out in the energy and just looking. And every time I looked up at the tree, there's this massive hawk. Like I'm talking massive, right? And I'm
Right.
just sitting there. But because I'm sitting there, people keep looking, because where I live, it's, anyways, people will go, oh, she's sitting there, there must be something going on in the tree. So this couple, this man and this woman go by, and this woman can feel something. She's looking up in the tree and she's like, she could feel it, you could tell. And he's just walking. And as they walk by, she's like, I really thought there was something there. And he says, you
Right.
will never see it. You will never be on the ground and look up into a tree and see an eagle or a hawk. You just won't see it. They kept walking. She kept kind of shaking her head because you could tell she felt him. Like he was massive. The
Mm.
presence was massive, right? They keep walking, and this man is like, you will never see it. And as they pass, I look up, and all I see is this massive hawk. And so what
Right.
was so beautiful is his experience was true. In the way in which he was looking at the world, he would never see the hawk. In the way in which
Right.
I was experiencing the world, the hawk was right there. And the lady in the middle could sense it, but unfortunately, she believed him. Had she been alone, I bet you she would have sat there. And if she had literally moved only a foot onto the other bench and she looked up, she would have seen him. So I'm watching
Right.
all of this interplay, and this is how it works in life. Like when I was looking for, or, when you start looking for love and you start not believing the news and not believing all this devastation, because your soul starts to think there's got to be more, man. And you literally keep embodying it. So you use gratitude, you use affirmations, use whatever tools you have. You literally will start to see the exact resonance, because like as quantum physics is proving, for those who are a little bit more analytical, all
Mm-hmm.
probabilities exist. Everything exists. It's just what part we choose to tune into and which part we choose to bring in. And I don't think we really embrace the amount of power that we have in recognizing that what we put out into the world is literally us attuning ourselves to those similar vibrations that are happening. And then that's
Mm-hmm.
what brings it in. Like we literally can embody that. And so, anyways, when this whole hawk thing, every once in a while, I look back and I'm just like, it was the most brilliant display of what we're talking about. And it was
Yeah.
also cool to respect that that was his truth, and that it was not for me to say, oh, hey, buddy, if you come here, you can see it. No. That he's allowed that truth. It's okay. Right. And so to
Yeah.
have compassion and understanding for maybe the people in our lives that don't see this love and compassion. You know, they only see anger and problems. And so to also have compassion, but that is their choice. They're allowed to see that. And that it's not for us to say,
Mm.
oh, my world is better because I can see the hawk. It's like, no, no, that's your path. And you walk your path, but I'm going to walk mine.
Yes, yes. Tawanda saying when spirit and quantum physics meet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Jennifer's asking, what about a vision board?
What do you think?
I haven't made a vision board for myself because I like. So see, my vision is there is like I haven't got a board,
Mm-hmm.
but I know what I want. But when I say I know what I want, it's not tangible. So I don't hold on to that. But what I want is the feeling. So I want to live in that feeling to get to that destination. So, for example, I want to be a successful coach. So again, I know it's there 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whenever that comes. But then, as you said, I want to live in that feeling now. So instead of getting overwhelmed and feeling that, oh, I have to get this, I have to get this, I think that, okay, I'm going to enjoy any little thing that I do and these tiny little steps. So then I feel that I put myself in a frequency that I'm enjoying the process. And that's when all these things that are there for me, it's going to come. It will come. It will come. If I'm going to then, I feel that whenever I put myself in a frequency where I'm overwhelmed and I'm like, I want this and this and this, it doesn't happen. And I'm not enjoying it. I'm stressed. But when I don't hold on to that and I'm like, just, okay, I know it's going to happen. So I'm going to enjoy in that process now. And whenever it comes, it comes. It's a blessing. God's going to bless me one day. And I know it's going to come. And that's how I enjoy it. And that's how I see it unfold. So yeah, what do you think of vision board? Because for me, vision board is just like there.
Okay, I'm going to say two parts because I totally get what Jen's asking. And I think it's a beautiful, beautiful question, but I want to just stay with your train for the moment. There's a reason why the power of now, the moment, is such a meditative practice. Because when we stop, it's why we practice presence as coaches. And could you imagine if me and you are having this conversation and I've decided that I need to go and like you would feel it. Oh, someone's coming. So as soon as I do this, okay, the potential and the capabilities that existed in the only space that I actually have any control over, right here is it. Then tomorrow, or even right now, this is all that is. Within the moment, the present, the past, and the future all exist. But it's in practicing to drop in the moment in order to access the vastness of the field. The way we're taught, because we use mind predominantly, is we start to say, here is what is real and then I'm going to take my brain and I'm going to throw it outside of my being and I'm going to say, success is this, let's go. The problem is there's no energy in that because the mind is the last part of the cycle of humanity, which is why if you look at the state of our world that is run strictly by a mind, you can see that it's actually missing the whole entire piece, which is why we choose money over people, right? We choose money over our environment, which is what allows us to live. Like it's kind of, and so in having compassion, you understand that it's because decisions are being made from the last piece of the cycle forgetting the first. Because when we are in this moment, then there is that opportunity to say, I want to experience this. I have become a coach because of the embodiment of life and whatever it is that I want to cycle. As soon as I move myself out of my sphere into, I have to be successful. And that's where anxiety, for me, as soon as I move out of this, I get anxious. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm out. Because now I'm trying to push something to happen without the only part that I have control of, which is right here. Like, I can sit in this moment. I can engage with you and have these ideas and this. And as long as I keep me present when we get off the phone, and then I sit down to, let's say, to write, or I sit down to do whatever that next step is. So it's like when I know I want to be a coach, I've like embodied this sphere, this vision, this feeling that you have. But I have to stay here in order to create it, which is why success is such a bizarre concept, and why we ask people, well, what does success mean to you? Because as soon as we say it means all of this stuff, it's good to have it as a reminder, but if it takes you out of the moment, it won't happen, because we get nervous, we get overwhelmed, and we're never going to create, manifest anything great for ourselves or our lives when anything is out of what we have here. So when me and you, this is coaching. This is the life we're building. And as long as we can maintain this through the next action, like, so sometimes you'll have that vision, like, okay, I've decided I want to be on Instagram. Cool. Okay, I'm going to do this. So we use the mind to have this thought. Then we have to come into the moment. And then we're like, okay, what is the next step that I see in this moment? Because this is the moment in which I'm doing it. When I'm doing other parts of my life, when I'm with my family, when I'm out in nature, and I'm not working on that part of my life, well, that doesn't exist here. So we got to live here. And in living here, we're building life. Instead of building a business and a job and a success, all this elusive stuff that is out there, manifestation is finding a way to sink into here, so that when I do get the sense that this is the action I'm going to take, I'm all there. So if my action is I'm going to build a website, which is very technical, and I got to have photos, and I got to have, what is the point of my website? Why are you coming? Where am I moving people? But if I'm so fully present and I'm locked into the energy, I already know what it is that my soul is here to do, right? I want people to feel love. I want there to be change in the world. I want to live in a better world. Like, this encompasses everything. But now I'm in an actual, tangible, technical, logical action, a very cerebral activity. But as long as I'm embodied in the moment, then the energy in which I'm creating will come through into that layer. Not only will I enjoy it, but it will land, because it's all in alignment. So I think the practice, or someone here had said that she thought this was going to be a meditation, but for me, meditation is life. Like, I don't go and do anything different. It's like, how do we get to be so present here, to know oneself, to engage with oneself, that in every action we're doing, we don't actually need to distract ourselves. We don't need to pull ourselves out of it. It doesn't mean you don't watch television to distract yourself. It just means you be present while you're doing that. And you'll see whether that feels good to you or not. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it does not. But that's what manifestation is how do we all land here in this moment? And then in the next moment, I'll be fully engaged with whatever that moment is. Once we can, to me, that's the practice. Then from there, it becomes very apparent when we're on track or when we're off track. It becomes very apparent to what roads we're building, because you can literally feel them. You can hear the thoughts. Like, if you're more of an analytical person, you literally, if you're so present in the moment, you'll hear the thought. And if the thought says, well, you're worthless, that was a stupid thing to do, no one's going to like you, no one's going to come to your live, right? And if you're so present in it, you can ask it questions. Why do you believe that? Where's that coming from? How come? And you can start to cycle it. If you're a feeler and all of a sudden you're anxious. So for me, I'm an emotional eater. So when I'm really in the moment, I can stop myself from grabbing to fulfill it. When I'm not, it happens, and hence it's a practice, right? It's like, so it's that, and that is the true essence of manifestation, right? It's an embodiment. Like, the most, like, Your life is exactly what your life is in the moment. And if in every moment you are present and you're living in the moment, you have the most conscious ability to shape that life, right? Because manifestation, we recognize is it's something I want, something I'm creating, right? It's for me. But if we're out here
Yeah.
and we're like, woo, like all over the place, no wonder we're anxious all the time. No wonder we're
Yeah.
uncomfortable and we're feeling, because we're not here when this is the only thing that I can do. So we can make a huge to-do list. That's what I do, make a huge to-do list, and then I like kind of throw it away, and I'm like, okay, what needs to be done today? And then
Yeah.
I enjoy it, I do this, and then once this is
Yeah.
done, then I'll pick something else from it. I'm like, okay, rather than, oh my god, I have 80 things to do, and then you just sit here and you do nothing.
Yeah.
What do? You watch television, you go and do garbage things, and then then you feel
Yeah.
anxious because you're not, it becomes a cycle. So the whole thing of manifestation is really becoming consciously aware of how to keep yourself right here with you. Because what I notice is when I really deeply practice, I realize the things that I don't like because I can't run
Mm-hmm.
from it. Whereas if I'm doing something and I'm watching television, it's because I don't really like what I'm doing, because I'm not really doing it.
Mm.
I'm out there. So when you really have to be in the moment, you learn really quick who you are. And a piece of why we want to do this is because it helps us deepen so that what we do create is actually something that fulfills us, rather than what I should do, what other people want me to do, what would be nice to do. Like, yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
great to be a famous CEO, but really, would it? I don't know, right? Until you really know, you don't know, right? Um,
Yes. Yes.
so the yeah, so there's my blabber, but the vision board, I just wanted to kind of honor that. Some people are incredibly visual. So
Mm.
if you like to touch and feel in order to see, then what a vision board does is it does the exact same thing we're talking about, but it allows you to go get photos and pictures and energy. Like if you are a manifester of energy, you would get pictures of rain falling where you could feel it. Some photographers are
Mm.
stunning. Like you literally see a photo, you can feel the energy. So you would build a physical vision board with the energy in which you're talking, as a way of saying, this is the road I want to build, but I'm super visual and I also need it in the 3D world because my mind needs something to look at in order to feel,
Right.
right? And this is why there's not one way for anybody. It's just which is your way. So for me, I'm a little bit more like you. I do everything in the ethereal, and I don't manifest tangible items. I don't manifest in the
Mm.
3D, but that's just my way. So, but a vision board has a great power for those that really thrive. Like they need to see it and touch it, and there is nothing like that's beautiful. So that every time they look at their vision board, they're like, it's like that pathway gets reinforced. They're like, oh yeah, right? Like there's
Right.
my house, there's my family, there's my whatever it is, and then it creates the energy for them to create those pathways. So you use what lights you up. If it makes you feel small, if it makes you
Yes.
feel sad, you kind of got to just let it go, because we don't all need to do the same things. But if you find something that lights you up, meaning you the time that you make the vision board, you're super excited, you're engaged, and every time you look at it, it gives you the surge of hope. Man, you need to do a vision board, and you need to like stick that all over your
Mm.
house. And if it doesn't really have
Yes.
that resonance, then there's other ways. But all we're doing is really reminding ourselves of those pathways. So, gratitude can be one, affirmations would be one. Like Meg, that we know, she puts post-it notes all over her world because when she sees it, it pulls that reminder. Beautiful. Me, I do that and I trip over them. I'm
Mm.
like, what's all this what's all this going on? So I don't do it. But it's not because it's just not my way. So it's to find, so I get very excited. But
Right.
that's how I would describe it.
Right. We have a lot of comments here. So it says, so Nixon is saying, yes, it's, I think this comment is from previously. So he says, yes, it's just as if you wear a black glass, you see everything black. If you wear pink glass, you see everything pink. The world is always how you see things. Yes. Oh, 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 my thing is going so fast.
I'm so glad you're doing that. It doesn't
Ooh.
even show up on mine.
Then ruler saying, oh my God. Oh, this thing is so tricky, isn't it?
Yeah,
Ruler saying letting go of control. Yes, that's so true. Kelly
well,
saying be
because what is
present.
because what does control do, right? As soon as we are controlling the outcome, we're literally using the smallest piece of ourselves, right? Because
Mm,
control is a mind process. You don't control with the heart. What do you like? Doesn't make any sense. It's your mind saying,
yes,
"Don't do this. Got to be this. Got to be this." And so what we're doing is we're using the final piece and it literally creates this jarring. And so, like, surrender is a big spiritual practice, and it's not because we need to like give ourselves away. It's about recognizing that this is the smallest piece of who we are, and when we
yes,
let that go, we're allowed to now use the deeper, more powerful layers of ourselves to create and embody the life we want. That's how I would say
yes,
that. So sorry, and then I didn't mean to cut off. I just wanted to comment to why that is just, I totally agree. Love it.
yes.
And sorry, Kelly
And
was saying
Kelly
something.
saying be present, be me, be soul conscious, not only body and mind conscious. Yes, Kelly.
Mhm.
Yes, so that's what you were saying, isn't it? That's where it starts, from the soul. And that's where it's just constantly manifesting. Now, before we end, what did I tell you? 20, 30 minutes. It's been 45 minutes.
Well, and I told you, listen, I'm Italian. I doubt you'll get it all for 30.
But one thing that was really coming to me is what's how much does belief, what role does belief have to play in manifestation?
What do you think?
It plays a huge role, I think, because what you believe, you can only manifest that. What is in your belief system, only that can come to you. When you look past your belief, that's when you're looking at the wider potential. Otherwise, your belief can really limit you because that's all you believe.
Yeah, a belief to me is I have all of this possibility and probability in my world. And when I believe something, I choose it. I'm taking it into my world. And when we have beliefs, like what I noticed was when I moved out of my home, so when I moved out when I was 17 and I was completely by myself, I realized
Mm,
that I believed things that I didn't agree with. So in being a child and being raised in a family, you are, beliefs are handed and then you have to live within the structure. And so you start to pull them in, right? So you have all of these, this is the way it feels to me. You have all of these things that you've decided are a part of your world. But when I didn't actually have somebody like the influence anymore, because I was completely on my own, I would do things and believe them and very intently convince others. And then because there was no stimulus anymore, I was like, wait a minute, I don't even believe that. I actually don't agree with that. And so as we grow up, we start to let go of it. And I think that
mm,
a part of the way it feels to me is that as soon as I pick something, which is why I don't like to manifest very tangible requests, because as soon as I pull something, there may have been potential like this, but I
mm,
decided that to be a successful coach, this is what it looks like: 5 figures, 10 clients a week, whatever I've decided. Okay. But yet there could have been a potential for your, like when I experience you, if I was to put you into a room of children and just allow you to do whatever you do in resonance, could you imagine the ripple effect of the impact of your kindness, and how, let's say the child is 7 or 8 and you kept meeting with them until they were like maybe 15 or something. I don't know, whenever. This is just this vision that's coming. And that energy of your kindness, your gentleness, your just this beautifulness, it starts to become a part of them. And then all of these kids go out into the world, and that piece of energy that they experience from you, that they then kind of incorporated, they now start to spread. So your coaching could potentially have this potential to affect the whole entire world. But yet we decide that I wanted to be a successful coach helping women be, like, so I'm very cautious of pulling a belief or pulling something out, because as soon as I hold it, you can just see my hand. As soon as you hold it, it's important to hold some things, but not so tightly that if something bigger has a potential to manifest, that it won't also happen. Which is why I think when we manifest that feeling, like I want to have this impact as a coach, to when I spend time with people, they leave knowing, like, this is my feeling. When I spend time with someone, I want them to feel that they are the most amazing being ever placed on this earth. I want them to walk with that courage, that strength, that, like, I got this, so, like, I'm grateful, like that feeling. And if that feeling is achieved, man, who cares how it literally can be grabbed into do you know what I mean? Like, so what, right? We know energy we know money is an energy. It follows energy. It follows. So who cares so much? You'll have, you'll be fed, you'll, whatever, right? But like in the Buddhist way, they'll say, if your karma is meant for you to be rich, you'll be rich. And if it's not, you won't be. I don't really know what that means, but it helps you realize that let's pick stuff that are important to us, but maybe don't grip it so deeply that there's a possibility for your radiance to be even bigger, for your success to be even more profound. Because if you could walk into a room of kids and those children 10 years later came back to you and said, Natasha, your love changed my life. How would that feel to you in relation to success and in relation into purpose, into why you were born? Like, would that, do you know what I mean? Like, is there a possibility that if we allow that manifestation to come from our purity, that potentially what will come back to us will be in so resonance with ourselves that being alive makes so much sense? That's just the thought.
Yes, you're right. Because again, that means, we are, as you said, we are born with these beliefs. Not born, but as we are growing up as a child, we have all these beliefs and we are growing up, but we have a choice. Because what we believe, that's what we create. So again, we have a choice. If a belief is holding us back, then we have a choice to release it. And like there's one belief where a lot of people think, say the belief that rich people are greedy, for example, or money is the root of all evil. If we believe that, that's how it will come to us. But if we believe that, so again, something like that. So say if you are, it goes to what you said, isn't it? It's the being, the feeling, the soul. So if you are a kind and loving soul, and if that money is coming to you, you're only going to give, you're only going to make the best of that money. It's going to go out in the world with love, with kindness, and it would be shared with compassion. But if you're going to believe that money is bad, or if it's something that, people are greedy and they have money, that belief will then make that happen, isn't it? So, yes. One sec, I can hear my son playing the drums.
He's got some accompaniment.
I'm just going to tell him to wait for a few more minutes. That's it, he stopped.
We'll be done. Well, I think that's where the power of manifestation and the awareness comes from, is that we're very complex. And depending on our system, different ways, like one of the comments I did read was from someone really sweet saying, I don't understand a word you're saying, but I love you. And I'm like, oh, perfect. Right? Because we're not going to we shouldn't understand every stream of consciousness out there, but we should be able to feel the love regardless of whether we understand it, because that's what happens when we really attune in the moment. Is you can meet a complete stranger and you can tell if they're safe or not. You feel it. You don't have to know. Doesn't matter what they dress like, doesn't matter what they look like. You know, you can feel that resonance. And I think what's so important is that we're very complex. So sometimes what we decide to pick into our world is important for what we need in the moment to learn and experience. And sometimes those same things that served us yesterday need to be let go of today, but not in letting go because we're getting rid of something. Like letting go has this energy of it was mine and now I need to be a martyr and I need to give it back. And when we take it more to the energy level, it's that things ebb and flow in our lives for reasons, as well as friends and family and everything. And if we can be in the moment of what serves the greater purpose, then it's not really about letting it go. It's about just releasing in order for something new to come. Like it has more of a gentle fluidity. So we pick something up because we need to, and then we just know when we pick it up, we know at some point it's going to release because it's intangible. Right? Like we know that this human experience is finite. We know that. There has yet been a human being, well, let's say in regular life, that has lived for more than 100 and what's the maximum, 36 years? 136, I think is the highest. A little man in Japan or something, but you know what I mean? Like, so we know at some point, like, you know, we don't talk about, but you know what I mean? So I think that when we can start to become in tune with that knowingness, that we're always getting to choose, and the same thing has to happen, but it doesn't have to be so rough, right? And, you know, like, and I think that when we can live more in the moment, I think we less grasp for stronger things to hold us safe in this world.
Yes. Yeah. So while you're saying what it feels like, it's just gentle. So you're just touching it and holding it gently, looking at it, and then you choose. You have a choice. So you have the power. You don't let that thing, like if that thing is running you, then that thing has the power. The belief has the power. But if you're just gently holding it, looking at it, and then making a choice, then you have the power to make the choice whether I'm keeping it here or I'll just gently place it. And I love that. Let's see what everyone's saying. Oh, again, this thing is going up and down. What? Tawanda's saying whatever you need will present itself when you need it. Yes. Don't limit your unlimited manifestations. What you believe, what you become. That's Kelly. We've got loads of emojis, thumbs up. And yeah, Melanie is saying that, yes, I can feel that. So yes, that's beautiful. And it's almost an hour. Before we finish, what is the one thing you would like our audience to go away with? Something that they can practice, something that they'll remember that, oh, if I'm, you know, how I can manifest, or what is the little tip you can give to our audience?
I'm not really a tip person, but I'm going to try. My sense that I'm getting is to trust what you know. There's a lot of information out there, and that's great.
Let me tell you, I think it only gives me an hour. It says that you've only got 10 seconds remaining.
Okay, trust yourself. Not a tip, but
yes. So everyone, hope